floor amendment offered to the engrossed version by Delegate Englin. After line 25, insert E, nothing in this section shall be construed to permit or require the placement of a foster child who is gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender with a family whose religious or moral beliefs are that being gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender is a behavior rather than an inborn immutable characteristic, nor shall any such foster child be subjected to reparative or conversion therapy while in foster care.
Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman from Shenandoah.
Point of order.
Gentleman may state it.
Mr. Speaker, I would question whether the proposed amendment is germane to the bill.
Let me take a look at it. I'm going to rule that the amendment does go back to the requirements of placing a child, and I'm going to therefore say that it is germane. The gentleman from Alexandria, Mr. Englin.
Mr. Speaker, speaking to the amendment.
The gentleman has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, as Senate Bill 349 is currently drafted, it would allow any faith-based or private foster care agency to have a policy where gay and lesbian teenagers are placed in homes where they will be subject to therapy to try to, quote-unquote, repair or convert their sexual orientation. In 2009, the American Psychological Association's task force to examine these forms of therapies reported that children who are subjected to these interventions were actually being harmed by these so-called therapies. We also know from the Federal Administration for Children and Families that gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender youth, quote, are often overrepresented in the population of youth served by the child welfare system. The National Network of Runaway and Youth Services has estimated that between 20 and 40% of youth who become homeless each year are lesbian, gay, or bisexual. These youth often cycle through foster homes, group homes, and the streets. This amendment would protect this substantial percentage of children in our child welfare system from discrimination by licensed child placing agencies and abuse by foster care parents. No one should, on the basis of religious or moral beliefs, be permitted to use the foster care system to advance their views at the expense of and to the detriment of vulnerable young people who've been committed to the state's care. Therefore, I urge you to vote for this amendment.
Gentleman Shenandoah, Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the amendment, Mr. Speaker, I would simply point out that the gentleman's proposed amendment is an actual substantive change to the existing foster care law that we follow here in the Commonwealth. As I've advised the body previously on the House version of this bill, this is simply a codification of existing policies that now govern the area of adoption and foster care. So if the gentleman has an idea for next year, certainly he can bring it. But his idea is a large diversion from the codification and would be a substantive change that I know he wants, but I would simply ask the body to reject the amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from Alexandria, Mr. Englin.
Mr. Speaker, will the gentleman yield for a question?
Will the gentleman yield?
I don't think so, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Gentleman declines to yield. The questions on adoption of the floor amendment offered by the gentleman from Alexandria, Mr. Englin. As many favor adoption of the floor amendment will say aye. I'm not sure I got 20 up, do I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. There are sufficient up. Shall the amendment be agreed to? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 27, noes 71.
Ayes 27, no 71. The amendment is rejected.